Hello and welcome back to Inside the Church. Father Mark here as we continue looking at different aspects within the parish church. Today we move into the sanctuary, this place set apart for divine worship of our God. And today we look at our beautiful altar here at St. Anthony. You can see the immense detail everywhere, especially in the pillars, the top of them. You see the beautiful details there. And then that hones in here on the center. You see what's called an ancient Christian symbol, the Chi-Rho symbol. And it became famous, there's a long story about it, but it became famous during the War of Constantine in the 3rd century, that Constantine received a vision from God, and he saw these letters, the P and the X from the Greek alphabet, which means Christus, Christ. And so Christ would give them victory in battle was the legend. And so it's become a rich Christian symbol down in the centuries. And an altar, the church teaches, has kind of two primary functions. It's this place of sacrifice and this place of meal. And sacrifice has been present in many, many ancient religions and cultures. And there's many different types of sacrifices, but two kind of common ones was one to appease the gods, that if the gods had sent a plague or a disease, or the gods were angry with us, that sacrifice was seen as a way to appease them. But another way of understanding it, was also there were sacrifices kind of bribes. So I do this for the rain god, the sun god, my crops will grow, whatever, that type of bribery. But that's not the notion of sacrifice in the Old Testament. The notion of sacrifice of Old Testament is returning creation back to God. There's many different types of sacrifices, but one type of sacrifice, especially after harvest season, the thank offering, where you offer a big harvest back to God in thanksgiving. Or another prevalent sacrifice in the Old Testament was the sin offering, recognizing I'd done some type of action to separate myself from God, and so I want to offer this sacrifice to be reconciled. And the principal sacrifice that we see, especially in the Eucharist, right? Jesus is celebrating the Passover. The Passover meal, you see the sacrifice and the meal. It's the sacrifice of the lamb. The shedding of the blood is what saves them. But then they have to consume the lamb, and they eat that unleavened bread, and they drink the wine. And so we see Jesus take that up into the sacrifice, that he institutes the new covenant. And so here at the Eucharist, the sacrifice is represented on this table. And the way that I kind of make sense of it, is that the love of the sacrifice is present in the meal. A way of breaking that down is, we'd always go over to my grandma's house when we were growing up. She was like the best cook. And she had this famous dish, the chicken and rice, and everybody wanted to eat it. It was an amazing meal. We had so much fun. But when you cooked with Grandma, you realize how much TLC, tender love and care, she put into that meal, how much sacrifice went into it. The same way in the Eucharist here. It is a meal, but the meal is this representing of that sacrifice of love of the cross. It's Jesus' life, death, and resurrection represented on the altar so that we can tap into that love and mercy. It's the sacrifice behind the meal. And it's the perfect love that the Father deserves. And so kind of our mission is we come to Mass, we bring those sacrifices, the bread, the wine, the money that represents the sacrifices we want to offer to God. We unite our love to the perfect love of Christ and return it to the Father. And so hopefully you've learned a thing or two and come to greater appreciation of our beautiful altar here. And until next time, God bless.